You know me, Darryl Bumpass. Listen, we need to talk. We need to talk. Every single one of us has a blueprint drawn out for us before we were born. We just have to stop interfering with the blueprint. How do we stop interfering with that blueprint? Simple. We have to get out of our own way. We must get out of our own way. Years ago, I always knew there was something out there for me. I just didn't know what it was. But I knew something was calling me. I just didn't know what it was. What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Don't you ever ask yourself that question? What is my purpose? I knew there was something calling me out there. I just didn't know what it was. But that's when it came to me. I have a passion for fashion. Yeah, I like clothes. That's it. The fashion industry. I would go to 38th Street, 39th Street, 40th Street, New York City, big city of dreams, the fashion district. And I would go up and down the block, up and down the block, up and down the block. And I would ask questions to anyone that had insight on the fashion industry. Now, there were a lot of people that helped me. I mean, a lot of people that helped me. But there was this one couple I'm going to introduce you to. But there was a lot of people that helped me. Like Mercedes Gonzalez, this powerful woman. Mercedes Gonzalez of Global Purchasing Company. She grabbed my hand. My mentor. This powerful woman, like all of the powerful women here in this place. All the powerful young women, young ladies that are here right now. This amazing woman, Mercedes Gonzalez, grabbed my hand and she said, "Dream big, Darryl. Dream big." I want you to look at the person sitting next to you and I want you to say, "Dream big." Dream big. Say it. Dream big. Dream big. She said, "Dream big, Darryl." There was a lot of people that helped me. But there was this one couple. Allow me to introduce you to them. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction. We all know them. The naysayers. The ones that say, you can't do this. The ones that say, you can't do that. Stop wasting time. Nobody believes in you. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction, the dream snatchers. We all know them. They said to me, you don't know anything about the fashion industry. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction said, you don't know anything about manufacturing. You're from the Bronx. What you know about line sheets, Pantone colors? You never went to school for fashion. You didn't go to Parsons. You didn't go to FIT. Stop wasting time. Nobody believes in you. Pack it up, go home. I could have listened to that. When they said, pack up, go home, they said, nobody believes in you. I said, so what? So what? I could have listened to that, but I didn't. I got my t-shirts and I started my clothing company. I got my t-shirts and I began to think of all the stores that would carry my clothes. So I hopped in my car with all of my t-shirts and I'm riding. I'm riding. And we get up to Mount Vernon, New York, also known as Money Earning Mount Vernon. We get up to Mount Vernon, New York, 4th Avenue. And I get out of the car and I grab my t-shirts. And I start walking up the block. Up and down the block. Up and down the block. Up and down the block. And I started knocking on all the doors to all the stores. To anyone that would carry my clothing. Anyone that would carry my t-shirts. I'm knocking on all the doors. And everybody said no. When I say everybody said no, I mean everybody said no. I got my t-shirts. I packed them up. And I went and I sat in my car with my head down. What I'm gonna do now? What I'm gonna do now? And that's when they showed up. We all know them. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction. They said to me, we told you you couldn't do it. We told you, stop wasting time. We told you, nobody believes in you. Nobody believes in you, Darryl. And with my head down, I can hear this voice. And the voice says this quote. It says, Ayn Rand says, the question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me. The question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me. Say to the person next to you, who's going to stop me? Who's going to stop me? Who's going to stop me? As I'm sitting there in my car with my head down, I hear another voice. I got a lot of voices in my head. With my head down, I hear another voice. And it says, pick your head up. Pick your head up. And it says, keep your head up so you can see your blessings coming. Keep your head up so you can see your blessings coming. Say to the person next to you, keep your head up so you can see your blessings coming. Les Brown says, shoot for the moon. And even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. Shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon. So I'm going to shoot for the moon. The voice tells me, try one more store. I want you to try one more store. I hop out of that car, grab my t-shirts, and I start marching to that store. I walk over that bridge from 4th Avenue to Gramerton Avenue. And I walk into the store. And I never forget the words of the owners of the store said to me. They said, we will take everything you have. We will take everything you have. The owners of the store, Gabe and Billy, said to me, we will take everything you have. It blew my mind. What a rush. We went from t-shirts in one store to selling all over the world. We went from t-shirts in one store to manufacturing all over the world. Won't he do it? We did it. We did it. We did it. Won't he do it? Oprah Winfrey says, you get out of life what you have the courage to ask for. You get out of life what you have the courage to ask for. What are you going to ask for? To all these amazing women at this event, to all of these amazing children, what are you asking for? What are you asking for? To all these powerful women here, let them hear your voice. What are you asking for? What are you demanding? What do you deserve? I know you hear me, but are you listening? I know you hear me, but are you listening? We went from one t-shirt in the store to selling all over the world. We did it. We did it. We did it. I'm on top of the world. Life is good. Life is great. But life has a way of showing up. Life has a way of tapping you on your shoulders. Life tapped me on my shoulders. Life tapped my family on the shoulders. My father gets cancer. Now we are in his hospital room. My mother on one side of the bed with tears in her eyes. And I'm on the other side of the bed with tears in my eyes. And my father's there. And he's dying. He's dying. And if I may add, this is also my older sister's birthday and my middle sister's wedding day. He's dying. While everyone is at the wedding, my mother's on one side of the bed and I'm on the other side of the bed. He looks at my mother and he looks at me. He looks at my mother and he looks at me. And he says, Mom. Mom. He's calling his mother. He's calling his mother. He looks at my mother. He looks at me. He says, Mom. Mom. He looks at my mother. And he looks at me. And I say to him, it's okay. You can go. The family's going to be okay. And he took his last breath. What I'm going to do now? What I'm going to do now? My best friend, my hero, gone. What I'm going to do now? It shook my world. It shook my foundation. What I'm going to do now? I know you hear me, but are you listening? I know you hear me. I know you're out there. I know you hear me, but are you listening? What I'm going to do now? What I'm going to do now? It made me realize that you cannot take time for granted. You cannot take life for granted. To all of these amazing people here in this audience, everyone that's traveled from all over the world, to all of these great women, amazing children, I'm here to tell you, you cannot take life for granted. You cannot take time for granted. Martin Luther King Jr. says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward. Say to the person next to you, keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. No matter whatever it is that's going on in your life, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward. While all of this was going on, I decided to start a journal. I began writing in my journal. And I can hear my father say to me, you need to turn this journal into a book. Someone out there needs to read this. Someone out there needs your help. That's when they showed up. We all know them. Mr. and Mrs. Distraction. We all know them. They said, Darryl, nobody wants to read what you have to write. Nobody wants to read what you have to say. Nobody believes in you. Nobody believes in you. Stop wasting time. Pack it up. Go home. Nobody believes in you. I could have listened to that, but I didn't. The Celestine prophecy says, the problem in life isn't finding the right answers. It's identifying the right questions. Once you get the questions right, the answers will come. You have to start asking the right questions. You have to stop asking the right questions. So I began to ask the right questions. I went to my mentor, Paul Anthony Rivers. I started asking him about self-publishing. I asked him about editing. I asked him about formatting. I asked him about distribution. We turned the journal into a book. We turned the book into a bestseller. We turned the bestseller into a #1 best-selling author. We did it. We did it. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? We did it. Lisa Nichols says, you are the designer of your destiny. You are the author of your life. You are the author of your story. Tell your story. Tell your story. Share your story. Someone out there needs to hear your story. When focus is your first name, everything else will follow. When Mr. and Mrs. Distraction said to me, "You don't know anything about the fashion industry. Nobody believes in you," my father said, "Dig deep." And I'm telling you, dig deep. My father said, "Dig deep, Darryl. Stay focused. Keep moving forward." When Mr. and Mrs. Distraction said to me, "You don't know anything about the fashion industry," my angels and ancestors said to me, "Stay focused. Keep moving forward." When Mr. and Mrs. Distraction showed up, tag teaming me on the shoulder, they said, "Nobody believes in you. Nobody believes in you. Pack it up. Go home." I said to myself, stay focused. Keep moving forward. Stay focused. Keep moving forward. Stay focused. Keep moving forward. I need everyone to stand up. Say to the person next to you, stay focused. Keep moving forward. Stay focused. Keep moving forward. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My first name is Focus, and my last name is Winning. My first name is Focus. My last name is Winning. Say to the person next to you, my first name is Focus, and my last name is Winning. I thank you, and I appreciate you. Peace.